Hello guys, welcome back to the next tutorial. So in this one we're going to talk about some string methods, built-in methods available in Python that we can use to manipulate strings, and they're really useful. So let's get started quickly. So I just have one file created called stringmethods.py, and I'm going to start in this one. So let's say, so the first thing I'm going to take a look at is accessing characters in a string. So a string, as we talked about, right, it's a sequence of characters. So it is made up of multiple characters joined together. So how we can access those different characters? Let's see. So let's say I want to access the first character of my string. So what I just did it as I created a variable. I'm going to access the first character of maybe some string called nyc, right? So let's print out. So right now it says, if I say first, right, it's just gonna print for nyc for me because first is the variable that has nyc. So let's say, how do I access the first character? What I can do is I can put a square brackets. So this is a bracket, square brackets, and I can put the index. So let's say I wanted to access the 0th index. So since strings are made up of characters, they're index based. So and the index starts from 0. So let's put this in comment. Index starts from 0 in Python. So f is on the 0 index, I is on the first index, r is on the second index, s is on the third index, and t is on the fourth index. So it means that it has 5 characters and they range from 0 to 4. So there is nothing on the fifth index. So just make sure, just keep a note of it. So let's right now run this code, and it gives me n, right? So at the first index, oh sorry, I was I was talking about the variable now. So n is on the 0th index, y is on the first index, and c is on the second index. This is just a variable. This is not a string. Sorry, I talked about first before. So n is at the 0 index, y is at the first index, c is at the second index. So basically there are 3 characters ranging from 0 to 2. There's nothing at the third index. So if I say 0, then it's gonna give me n. If I say 1, it's gonna give me y, right? If I say 2, it's gonna give me c. And let's say what happens if I say 3. It's gonna give me an exception. So it says that there's an index array string index out of range because there is nothing on index 3. They start from 0 to 2 because there are only 3 characters. So index starts from 0. That's what I wanted to talk about. So what we can do is we can have a string called maybe city, and I can say something like, let's say SF4 right now, and we can access something like this as well. So I can have, first character maybe again, or just say ft, and then I can say city, and then I can access the first character of city. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna assign the value sf4 to the variable called city, and now I'm accessing the first, sorry, yeah, it's the first index, basically the 0th index. So now I'm accessing the 0th index, which is the first character of the variable called city, and city has sf4, right? So let's do this and let's print ft. So if we do that, and the n is coming from here, first from nyc, and s is coming here, the ft from city. City has sf4, right? So this is how we can actually access the characters of a particular string. So let's move ahead and see what else we can do. So there are some built-in methods. There's some easy ones that I'm going to talk in this tutorial. So the first one is let's make a note of them. So the first one is len, which actually helps us in identifying the length of the string. Then lower, which helps to change the case of the string all to lowercase. Then upper, it's obvious, it changes everything to uppercase. And then str. which helps us to change a non-string character to string. So let's take a look. So let's say I have str called this is a mixed case, right? So what I'm doing is I'm typing some caps and some small, right? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna print str dot lower. When I do that, let's print it out. So if you notice, everything is smaller case right now. T is small, I is small, M is small, C is small. So all the case is changed, right? And let's do this. Print str dot upper. So if I do this, everything is gonna be in caps, as you can see, right? This is pretty interesting. These are helpful methods. These helps us a lot in manipulating strings. So after this, what next, we can take a look. Yeah, we have length, right? So let's find out the length of the string. So print and len. So len is used like this, and str, that's what I'm gonna put into. So it should find the length of the string. So it says the length of the string is 20, which means it has 20 characters, including the spaces in between. So these are also characters. Space is counted as character, a valid character. So we found out the length of the string as well. Next we wanted to find is str, right? So let's talk about it. So in the print statement, let's say I wanted to add this str plus 2. Let's do this, right? So str is a string, right? But this 2 is a number. You guys can easily see that, right? And we can see the error as well. It says expected type string got int instead, because print takes only string types, and that's the string representation, right? It represents everything in string as well. So we cannot actually do that. If I do that, I'm just gonna get exception here as well. It says type error in print str plus 2. It says can't convert int object to str implicitly, right? So what do we have to do for that? So if I say str here and surround the 2 with the parenthesis, what it's gonna do is it's just gonna basically convert. So I think I should just change the name of this thing, because it just kind of clashes with the built-in name. So stri is good here, and let's put stri. So this is good, right? Because str is a built-in function, so we should not use those names in our variables. That's recommended. So if you guys notice, it was giving us error as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this stri for the variable name, and str is the built-in function, right? The one that we talked about. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna convert the 2 to string representation. 2 is still gonna be seen as 2 only, but it's just gonna be a string representation, and it's gonna add it to stri. So if I run this code now, looks like some error because we didn't change the stri everywhere. So we have to change it here, have to change it here, we have to change it here. So when we do that, it's gonna be fine. Now it says this is a mixed case 2. From where this 2 is coming? Because we added a 2 here. So you guys can see that, right? Very easily. So that's what I want to talk about. There's one more thing that we already saw in this, that we saw how do we concatenate strings, right? How do we concatenate strings? So basically concatenation, adding 2 strings together, right? Concatenation of strings. So we already saw that we can add 2 strings using a plus sign, and we already did that, right? So one after the other we can put that plus sign, and it's just gonna add it. So let's try to do one more stuff. So let's say print, and I'm gonna add hello, and maybe I'm gonna just put a space here so it's more clear visible, and I can add an empty string as well, and well, so I just added 3 spaces basically, and then I can say some exclamation marks and all these things. So right now what I'm doing is I'm adding 3 strings. The first string is hello and space, the second is just a space, and the third is space, world, space, 3 exclamation signs, right? So that's what I'm doing. So let's do this and let's print this out. And that's what it does, right? So the idea behind this was to show how do we add strings. You can basically add two different strings as well. So let's do this print, and I'm gonna add first plus, I'm gonna add some space here, and then I'm gonna add city. So what I'm doing is I'm adding these two. The first is the character from NYC and city is the complete SFO, right? So it's gonna print N for me from the first, and it's gonna print the complete SFO after a space. So let's do that, and it says N space SFO, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. That's what I want to talk about. So I would just say practice a lot, download this file for reference, and get back to me if you have any questions. So thanks for learning this one. Stay tuned for the next one, guys. Thanks, guys.